Finally, on Bob's PC, again, Bob is the poor user that isn't running anything. So again, we can look at these files here, and we'll launch Internet Explorer, actually, not Chrome, because that's where the exploit is actually built in. So let me just close down Chrome. Okay, so Internet Explorer is running, and the files are sitting there in the background. So again, we're going to go to that same link. And again, if we look at the back of what's happening on Bob's PC, you can see that file encryption has started to take place. Now, bearing in mind that Bob is completely unprotected, he doesn't have those different layers of security running on the endpoint piece here, and there is no EDR solution in situ on his machine. So in essence, the expectation is that, unfortunately, poor Bob has been hit by the malware. So this takes just a little while. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to accelerate things a little bit here. So if you just bear with me. Okay, so we can now see that the majority or all of the files have been encrypted on Bob's PC. Click no at that point on that, and unfortunately Bob has been completely hit by a ransomware piece. And you can see now as well that a pop-up screen has appeared. This is an actual live sample of malware, this one. Some of the others I used earlier on in the kind of discussion were just demo pieces. But this is actual a live attack. So you can see that there is some information here. The guys have gone to great lengths, the bad guys, to ensure that, hey, if I don't speak English, we can localize it as well. So they've got everything in a variety of different languages there. So if I highlight, for example, German, you can see here they've got some very nice polite wording as well in a variety of different languages to help the user understand what's happening. They've got a time element running here, so there's a countdown timer, which I always kind of associate with a sense of urgency. So that is going to put the user in a position of needing to react and not necessarily think about what's going on. So again, when we place that subtle pressure on a user or on anybody, to be honest, we tend to react a little bit quicker without thinking things through. And again, this is the subtle use of I suppose, social engineering tactics that are coming into play here. But everything is explained. There's nothing too aggressive in there in terms of the wording. Again, it's about, oh, your files have been encrypted. We have a tool that can help you. Pay us, and we will then send you through the decryption tool to undo the damage. Now, at this point, there are a variety of different thoughts around that. Sometimes you can pay the money and you may get a decryption tool through, or actually you pay the money and you won't get the decryption tool through. Or if you do pay the money, you're then marked as somebody who will pay for for the damage to be undone. And so actually you might get hit or more targeted in future again. It's just different mindsets, different ways of kind of thinking about how these kind of guys and how their mentality is kind of geared towards making as much money off of an end user as possible. And that is where our different engines can come into play and help prevent that. Welcome back to the second piece. We're back on Pamela's PC now, and what we're going to do is we're going to show you an actual attack of fileless malware drive-by exploit with a WannaCry variant. So again, what we're doing is we're looking at Pamela's PC. Pamela has got Sandblast Agent installed. In this scenario here, we've got a couple of other different engines that form part of the EDR piece, and this is the anti-exploit engine. On Pamela's PC, the anti-exploit is actually set to detect only, which means it won't stop something from happening. But the idea here is to show you the remediation that can occur should the actual ransomware detonate. So again, if we look on Pamela's PC here, you can see we've got a bunch of files. These are Pamela's files on her desktop, normal user, if you will. And then what we're going to do is we're going to launch Internet Explorer here. And then we can click on a site that has been quote unquote hacked. So this is the My Store site. And again, the user has just browsed to a normal web store. And what you can see here is this site has been infected, if you will. The user has clicked the link, gone to the store, and now something is happening. But there's no interaction for the user at this point. So we just wait a few seconds just to see potentially what's going to happen here. And normally what will happen is now in the background, a file, you can see here, Pamela's files have now been infected by WannaCry, and encryption has started to occur in the background. Now, obviously, the user may not have their files open, but you can see here that this is what will generally happen, is this encryption will occur. Our engine has now kicked in. So the anti-ransomware engine has kicked in. And what it's doing now is it's utilizing and working in tandem with a bunch of our other engines to understand the attack vector, i.e. how the file got in, and determine what we can do about that. So in this particular scenario here, what will happen on Pamela's PC is we will hopefully undo all the damage that's been done and revert her PC back into a state of working order again. So you can see here the files are now going back into situation. They're being restored from what is in essence a little hidden area where we've backed up localized copies of the files as they've been accessed. And so what's happening now is we're undoing all of the damage that has occurred in relation to the attack. And again, we just have to wait a few more minutes for this to kind of do its work. And by doing that, then we can start to see that actually all of the original or the attacked files are now gone. The encrypted files are gone on the back end. And we are waiting for restoration to occur. And so if you look here, you can see file restoration has succeeded. And you can see that the original files have now been put back into place. We can now view the details in and around that attack. And we have a forensics engine that comes into play as well, that's able to help build a picture as to the type of attack, what happened on the system, and then what we did in and around that. So this is very useful for the guys on the ground to determine exactly what was infected, what files were hit by this, and in essence get into detail and understand some of the reasoning behind, you know, the what, why, where, when, as I like to call it. This information is also passed through if the end user has got you know, a smart event solution at the back end. So as part of their kind of core back end networking infrastructure, again, all of this information is passed through there as well. So the team can have a lot more visibility into what's going on.